Hello, this is RB Jewels. Welcome to STL Handmade Jewelry and Craft Corner. Today I'm going to show you how to do a single right angle weave bracelet with a little bit of bling. We're going to add some crystals. So these are the only bracelets I had. These are right angle weave bracelets, but these are triple right angle weave bracelets, which I will show you how to do in other videos, but I'm just showing you what a right angle weave bracelet looks like with the clasp. This is like the traditional clasp when you add the loop and you add a bead, which I did that to both of them and made sure that the beads stayed on, excuse me. So I'm going to show you how to do a simple right angle weave. So let's get started. We're going to put these aside. To make these, we're going to use some 80 seed beads. And then you're going to need some 11 seed beads. This is going to be part of the decoration. And then you can use some 4mm crystals. You're going to need a clasp, some scissors. I always keep a pair of jewelry pliers so that it makes it easier to flatten down the thread that I use, which is I mostly use wildfire. You can also use fireline. And the thread has a tendency to be like a little rough though, and it doesn't go through the needle as easily. So when you flatten it down with your pliers, it makes it easier. And little handy ruler. This ruler is like super old, but it's one of my favorites. And that's to like measure out your bracelet once you've reached the bracelet length that you want. And then you need an 11 size beading needle, one arm span full of thread, and this should be enough for us to take care of this entire bracelet. Okay, so what we're going to do first is you're going to pick up 4 beads. And you're going to let it drop all the way down. See, we got 4 beads. And you're going to let it drop all the way down. You're going to leave maybe about, I don't know, 5 or 6 inch tail. And this is just so that you can put the clasp on the other side, and you'll be able to weave your tail back through, and you'll be able to sew through it a couple of times so that your your clasp will be kind of sturdy with the beads. Okay. So next, what we're gonna do, you're gonna sew through 1 bead. Pull your thread through. And you're gonna have kind of look like a little square like. Okay. So because when you do the right angle weave, it can be a little floppy. So what I would do, look at that, not trying to get in already, get out of there. Get out of there. I go through it again. You're going to go around the entire circle again. Okay. Now, some people tie off, and you can do that. But you're going to weave back through it later. So you can tie it off. And if you do, instead of coming back through here, you would tie it off right there. Okay? So now that you have the 4 beads together, and you hear the air conditioner on, and yes, in April, I said air conditioner because where I live, it was 85 degrees outside, and it's going to be 85 degrees again. And then the temperature is going to drop back down, and it's going to feel like spring. So right now, you hear the air conditioner. So after you picked up these 4 beads, you're not going to pick up 4 beads anymore. You're going to pick up 3 beads. And you're going to go through. Now let me tell you something about right angle weave. It's just what it means, right angle. It's always going to be at a right angle. So meaning that it's going to move from left to right. It's always going to find that right angle. It's not going to be, it's going to be on the left side, it's going to be on the right side. It's always going to find that right angle. So as you can see, what we did was we borrowed from the bottom of the original bead to create the next row. And you're going to come through. You can hold it down, and because it gets a little floppy, and this is something that you want to be able to wear and have some stability, you can go through it twice. Pull your thread through, and we want to get down to this loop right here. And then you're going to pick up another 3 beads, and you're going to borrow from this bead right here, and you're going to come through. See, now you have 3 rows in your right angle weave. Now feel free to use whatever color thread you want to use, beading thread. I generally use black, white, or clear. Now see how we came out, we're going on this side and we're coming back around. And we're pulling it. And you're coming back through. So you really have to pay attention because, and you're coming back out at the end of it again. Now don't worry about the thread that we see on the side. That's where the decoration is going to come in later. Oftentimes a right angle weave is used as a base. You can use it and wear it as is because depending on the colors that you use, it can be very, very pretty. But it can be used as a base, and you'd add embellishments on top, like I showed you with the other bracelet. See how it's embellishments on top of the right angle weave. And this bracelet is so old. I mean, it is super, super old. I mean, like, I don't know, maybe 10 years old, 11 years old. Yeah. So you're going to pull it through and be careful. I'm holding the thread like this because I'm trying to control it so it doesn't get a lot of knots in it. So we are constantly borrowing from this bottom bead to add to it. And you're going to come through. you're gonna go all the way back around, and we're gonna come back down at this bottom bead again. And we're gonna do this together a couple of more times. And then, see how I did that? I got a knot in it. That's why I say it's just to be careful. And an easy way to get through the knot, you put the thread in between that knot and hold it and pull it out. That way it doesn't form into a complete knot, and those can be really stressful to try to get out. Then you almost have to perform surgery using 2 needles just to get one knot out. So that's why I try to control it as much as I can to get out the knot. So we're going to pick up another 3 beads. And see how it looks like it's, doing its own thing. Because right now it is doing its own thing. Because that's what beads do. They do their own thing. They have their own rules. But, we have ways of making our friendly beads listen. So, we're going to come back through. And I know my nails look crazy, y'all. I need to do them. So, we're going to come back through. Sorry about that, shaking the camera. So we're going to do this one more time, and I'm going to give you a few simple instructions, and then you're going to go off on your own and finish up your bracelet, and then we're going to do the next step. So, sorry about that. Coming back in frame. Okay, that didn't work. Let's bring the beads all the way back down. Okay, so I'm going to go back through. And you're going to follow it all the way around. You're actually, even though it looks like a square, you're sewing in a circle. Okay. Let me move this out of the way because my thread keeps getting caught on the spool of thread, and that's not what we want. Okay. Sorry about that. Stay in frame. Okay, so once you get to your bracelet length, say you wear a size 7 bracelet, okay? Then you want to do a 1/2 inch on each side, which will be a full inch. So you'd be a 6. Okay? Because you're going to need to allow for the clasp on both sides. Now, what you want to be aware of, like when you're using larger beads, the circumference, and I'm sorry to sound like a math teacher right now, the diameter on the inside of the bracelet gets smaller the larger the beads that you use. So, say I wear 7. I would have to sew to a 7.5, a 1/2 inch more for me. Then still add on the clasp. Okay, so if you're using an 80 bead, which that's what this is, you want to add like, whatever that your bracelet length is, sew down to that bracelet length, and then add your clasp on both sides. And we'll get to that later. But my bracelet size is a 7.5, sometimes an 8. So I'm going to sew down to a 7, and then I'm going to add the clasp on both sides, and that will take up the rest of the space for, the room in the bracelet, for the closure and everything for the bracelet. So, but now I want you to sew down to your bracelet size, and then we're going to come back and we're going to go to the next step in creating this right angle weave bracelet. We're back. You should have completed your full bracelet length. For me, that is 7 inches. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add the clasp, and then we're going to come back and we're going to add some embellishments. Okay, so we're going to use the same 80 beads. You can pick up 3. I'm going to pick up the clasp and 3 80 beads, and you're going to go through this top bead and come around. Okay, and you're going to come through this at least 3 times, because you want this to be as sturdy as possible. I'm sorry, let me stay in frame. And then we're going to come back down. Then we're going to come back through. We're going to come back through here. And that is going to be as simple as that. So we came through 3 times, and that should hold it pretty well. Okay. As you can see, we still have a pretty good amount of thread on this side, and we can use towards the design. I like to try to use as much of the materials as possible before I actually tie off. So what we're going to do, I'm going to leave the needle on this one, and we're going to grab another size 11 needle. And remember when I told you about taking your jewelry pliers and flatten the end of the needle. As you can see, when you do that, it looks like a little paddle. Okay. And this makes it so much easier to go straight through. See? Pull it through like that. Okay. And so what we're going to do on this side here is, remember I told you that you could tie it off right here, but we're just going to go up through the other side, and we're going to use it. Okay. Now on this side, we're going to pick up about 9 beads, 8 to 9 beads. You want it to have a decent loop. And you can continue to try your loop size to make sure that you know you got enough beads. See, but it'll give you a decent loop. Let me see. Let's see how many beads this is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, let's pick up 2 more. Okay. And then you're just gonna go through, and basically what we're doing on this side is just constant reinforcement. If you hear any noise, it's one of my family members making noise. That's what families do. They make noise sometimes. Yep, that is what they do. And see, the more you reinforce it, it makes your bracelet last longer. Like I showed you the other 2 bracelets I had for like 10 years or so. And I haven't had to. That's because I don't wear them a lot. Because I've made several to wear with different outfits, which is a cool idea, but there are times I have 1 or 2 that's like my absolute favorite. Okay, so we're just gonna come back through one more time, and that's that. Okay. Now we're gonna use this to get started with the embellishment. We're not gonna start at the top loop. We're gonna start at the next loop. Okay. And this is going to be simple. We are actually finished with the 80C beads. Now we're going to pull the embellishments, the 4mm beads for the embellishments. And don't worry, if we run out of thread, guess what? I'm going to show you how to add new thread. So what you're going to do, you're going to pick up 1 bead. Okay, and we're only going to be working with these center beads. We're not going to be working with the beads on the side. Okay, not yet. And you're going to come through. Sorry about that. Camera shaking. And that bead is going to sit on top of that bead, just like that. Okay, and then you're going to take your next bead, and you're going to go through the next middle bead. Bring it through like that. And you want to make sure that the beads are sitting on top as you pull. Okay? And we're going to continue. I'm going to work with you on this side because the beads, this thread is going to be short, and I want to show you how to change it. And you want to make sure that the bead is sitting in the middle. And don't worry about it because we are going to add embellishments on the sides. So you're definitely going to need more thread for that. Okay. So you're crisscrossing it. See how I'm going on the opposite side, you're crisscrossing the thread because it's going to lay down like this. But you're not going to see that because the bead is going to lay there like that. See that? Trying to stay in the frame. This is turning out so pretty. I'm loving these colors. Yep. Yeah. This is turning out so pretty. It's so relaxing and it's so soothing to just take your time and put the bead in place. And also too, as you do this, your bracelet will straighten out more. It will lose the wonkiness. As you can see, it's a little bit more stiffer. And it's cooperating to do what you want it to do. So I think we're gonna do this one more time. And we're gonna tie off. Excuse me, my sinuses are bothering me a little bit. So we're gonna do this one more time. Now I have been known to go all the way down, but I'm not going to show you how to do that. And yeah. And stress yourself out. So at this point, we're gonna just go through the side here. Okay. And you're gonna catch a little bit of the thread on this side. Okay. And you're gonna knot it. Go through the other side. Now we can do this when this is much, because these bead holes are much larger. Sorry about that, I got quiet for a second. Sorry about that. We're gonna do this one more time. One more time. And pull. Now, you don't have to worry about. So, you're gonna pull a needle off. And take your scissor. They have these beautiful things called thread zappers, and it burns the thread, but I've never used one, so that's why I have not introduced it. Maybe I will get one and use it when I'm beading to see how the thread zapper works. But it seems to be a wonderful thing. But I don't have one, so I'm not going to worry about it. So as you can see, this is what the beads are looking like. That's what they're looking like. Okay. So we're going to add some more thread. We're going to use about another 1 arm span. Reason being, we're going to do some more. We're going to do a lot of embellishments to this bracelet. You just want to make sure you got enough thread. Remember to take your plier and flatten your thread down. And it looks like a little paddle. And and it should go through. And after I finish showing you how to add thread and do a couple of more beads with you, you're going to finish adding that top embellishment on your own and come back and we're going to add the final embellishment together. So, yeah, we're going to do that in a minute. Right now. Okay, so what we're going to do now is you want to sew through at the top. Okay. Pull your thread all the way down. Maybe like a ½ an inch, just enough where you can, I'm sorry, out of frame where you can cut it off. And this only works because the holes where the thread bridge is large. So when you make your knot, and don't worry about seeing it because that's why we're going to add more embellishments. Okay. And yeah, I'm going to go. And I know this can be a lot of thread. And for those of you, if this is too much thread to work with, if this is your first time beading, then you can work with smaller lengths of thread and just add thread the very same way that I'm showing you as you go. And I should have said this earlier, and I apologize for not doing that. So now you can see your thread bridge is tight. And we're going to pull it through. Okay, so now we're back to where we're going to pick up a bead. And we're going to go through the other side. Move this out my way so I have more elbow room. And remember to try to hold your thread where you can control it as much as possible so that you don't get a knot in the bead. Okay. So we're going to do this together one more time. Remember, we're only working with the middle beads and you're going to follow that right angle. So basically it's like zigzagging back and forth through the piece. Pull it gently as much as possible. Yeah, okay, there we go. How that happened, I don't know, but that's okay. And pull, okay? So now I'm going to let you finish adding the embellishment to the beads, and we're going to come back and we're going to add the final step to this bracelet. So I'll see you when you finish. And we're back. After you finish adding this last bead, you're going to come through this circle right here, and then you're going to come down right here. And I kind of changed up the design a little bit. I wanted to add a little bit of blue. So what you're going to do, you're going to get you a 15-0 seed bead, and you're going to use the 11-0 seed bead. And you're going to put it in that space. And I decided to go back and to use these beads again because they are so pretty. So I thought they would look nice. And you're going to go down the side. And don't pull so tight. You want it to have it like more of it moves fluidly on its own. So don't pull it really tight. You do want it to have some movement. And again, I apologize. That's the air conditioning coming on again. Okay, but I did make a mistake right here though. So let's come back out. And sometimes when you make a mistake, just to pull your thread off your needle, off your thread, and pull it through. Now when you do this, it does have a tendency to crinkle up the thread, especially if you're using a very long piece of thread. So you have to be really, really careful. And the mistake is that I made, take you to it. See where I added 2 beads right here instead of adding the 2 beads and then the crystal? And you know what? That's okay. Mistakes happen. They are going to happen. And just take that right off. And grab your thread and your needle. And because your thread is already flat, your needle will go right back into it. Sometimes you have to like get the thread to behave again. And remember, just take your time. Be patient with yourself and not rush. There you go. You came back through. Then you pick your piece back up. Pick up the crystal. And let's add the crystal right there. Always try to control the thread. Keeps it from getting knots, or get less knots. So then you'll pick up an 11-0. I'm sorry, 15-0, 11-0. Go through the next bead. Then pick up a crystal. And you're going to do this all the way down. Take your time. 15-0 and a 11-0. And you're going to come all the way down. Pick up a crystal. And this is what you're going to do all the way down. I'm going to do this with you together one more time. And then you're going to finish this side. That 15-0, the 11-0, and calm down. And then you add your crystal. So you're gonna go off and you're gonna finish your bracelet on this side, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna do the other side together. So meet you back when you finish this side. And we are back. So now what you're gonna do, you're gonna go through like you did on the other side, and you're gonna come through. You're gonna come down the other side like you did that side. Okay. And you're gonna continue on this side just like you did that side. And if it's a crystal right here, you're gonna start with the crystal. We want this piece to look even. So you'll pick up your crystal and you'll come through. And then you'll pick up your 15-0. And your 11-0. And you're gonna go down through the other side. And as you can see, it's starting to come together. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna continue the same thing through the entire other side of the bracelet. You're gonna tie everything off, and we're gonna meet back, and I'm gonna show you the finished bracelet. And we are back, and we are finished with the project. I hope you had fun making this bracelet. Until next time, stay creative.